Okay, welcome to episode 3 of the Schmo Show. Originally, we recorded one like a month ago now at this point, but every time I tried to render it, it kept freezing my computer, so that episode has been lost to time. I don't remember if I mentioned it in that episode or not, or episode 2, that I tried to upload the episodes to SoundCloud, and it turns out they had a 3-hour limit, so I was like, oh, okay, that sucks. I guess we just won't have episode 2 or 1 on there. Then I tried to upload episode 3, which was under 3 hours, and then it turned out we used up all of our time, because it's not, to my understanding, it is not, you can only upload a file that's under 3 hours. You have 3 hours total time that you can upload, because SoundCloud's supposed to be used for music, I guess, so it's not like you have your allotted music time, because you're not gonna fucking, like, who's realistically gonna have like 300 or 3 hours worth of discography.
And a handy way to upload these files would be to make your own website today with Squarespace, who we are not sponsored by.
Yeah, I wonder if they even pay. I wonder if Squarespace even like pays good, because they sponsor so many people.
There are
haven't even
three
seen them.
sites or groups or whatever that I have had forcibly listened to being advertised all over the place recently, which, aside from Squarespace, that being the Dollar Shave Club and some fucking VPN app. It's
Probably like NordVPN or one of them, because I got one of them. I had an offer for it, but I turned it down because I was like, how do I even make an ad space for a VPN? Like, what would I even say? Hey, kids.
Hey,
VPN.
Hey kids, remember how in Yu-Gi-Oh you could get hit by this nasty crush card virus? Well, this is a trap card that lets you avoid it, and it's called NordVPN. I don't fucking know.
I don't fucking know. I was just like, it would feel so out of place in a video just like talking about an anime. Well, I guess I could talk about like, hey, if you don't want to support a service that you think is shit, go to obtain it through other legal means.
Did I ever talk on here about the one time I got an offer for a sponsorship, and
No, you have not.
and I botched it in a really funny way. Basically, I got an email from some company asking me to showcase their mobile app that lets you collect stickers of movies and TV shows and cartoons and stuff, and send them to your friends and open them up like gacha shit or whatever. I don't even recall what it exactly was. All I know is that Pan Pizza, I think, is the guy that advertises it on occasion, and
No clue who that is.
he reviews cartoons on YouTube. That's about it. And essentially, the iPhone version was the kind of ideal version of that product. The Android version, which is a phone I have, was barely in the beta. Like, you can download it, but it's clearly not meant for the Android. So I did find a way to somehow get it to run, to work, and I thought, okay, I guess I'll take your offer for this much money, etc. And then they send me their instructions on how long to feature it in my video, at what point, what to say, what to do. And I'm thinking, wow, this is all really out of character for the way I present my clips. So I complain a little bit about it on Twitter. I say something like, well, these guys want me to sponsor them, but their rules are like stupidly, like annoyingly strict on how they want me to present this, so I don't know if I should dip into it. And like 5 minutes later, I get an email from them saying, unfortunately, we have decided to cancel our offer due to your recent tweets. All's well that ends well.
Well, what was the game?
It wasn't
Again?
a game, it was like an app that lets you collect stickers themed after movies and cartoons.
Is it Amino or whatever?
No.
That thing is
Amino is
called?
something else. This is... I don't think I've seen this resurface in any recent time, so it probably flopped. I can't recall to save a life. I don't think it ended up being relevant in any grand scheme.
Yeah, I always wonder, like, with all these companies that do like massive sponsors like Squarespace, Skillshare, Audible, like, do they just lose? Like, are they making back the money? I assume they have to be for how many people they just
Apparently, because
like for the amount of people they sponsor. The other one that I've seen that's like up and coming is Honey. I don't know if you've seen that
I don't
one.
think I have.
I watch a lot of like tech channels like Michael Reeves and William Osmond that just make like dumb inventions, and trying to think of some other channels. Those are like the two I watch the most. But it's like some website plugin that you just install, and it like searches for deals on things. So it's like, I'm going to check out on Amazon. Here's a coupon that Honey found, or I think that's what it is, if I remember correctly. I don't remember. Anyway, so like I wonder, because eventually you stop seeing the sponsorship everywhere, like Loot Crate, in like the like 2013 to like 2015, 16, every video had a Loot Crate sponsorship. I haven't seen a Loot Crate sponsorship in I don't know how fucking long. Like, I wonder if they just start bleeding money because of it.
Yeah, I do have to wonder, given the amount of money I was offered to do this for, compared.
Do you want to disclose how much?
No, because I don't remember. I just remember that it was way more than I would be earning at the time, because that's what I thought when I was offered it. But for that amount of money, compared to my sub count and the audience that I have that would get exposure to this, I feel they wouldn't make back barely like 50% of that money just from the shit they gave me. Because this app is not some groundbreaking kind of piece of software that everybody is gonna want to have on their phone when they see it. Like, at most I thought, okay, this is kind of neat, I guess. I would get bored of it in a day.
It's kind of cringe, bro.
It's pretty cringe. Bro, you just sponsored cringe. You're going to lose dollar.
Sponsor cringe. Yeah, that one that everyone was sponsoring that turned out to be like a sham. What was it? It was like a antidepressant pills that turned out to be fake or something.
Oh, that's God, that's really fuck. I'm trying to recall. I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember.
I don't remember either. I don't keep up with the sponsorship shit because like I don't get any deals, so I don't fucking care.
I think I'm sorry. I think the most egregious example of how badly people kind of cram these sponsorships into their videos was I think I watched some anime YouTuber like 2 years ago talk about Naruto, and
oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't remember who it was, but
it was Mother's Basement.
Oh, okay. That explains everything. But
he made like a 20-minute Naruto video. I remember it was like a bunch of it was just like a mobile game.
He made a no. He made a Naruto video, which I seem to recall to have been decently well researched. But he would like occasionally show footage of this really janky, terrible-looking Facebook Naruto game, which he was extremely clearly told to showcase in that specific way throughout the video, despite it completely being like a cash-in and doesn't have to do anything with the rest of the video. And the way he used to say how well it conveys the adventurous feeling of Naruto and stuff while you're just seeing this really terrible turn-based flash gameplay in the background. It's just, come on, have some dignity in there.
Yeah, sponsorships are weird. Sometimes I'm tempted to take them because it's like I need the money. Like when I went to the doctor and had a bunch of medicine I needed to get, and I bought a bed, and like that shit's, first of all, medicine, if your insurance company does not fucking cover it, is astronomically expensive. Like a fucking bottle can be like $300 for like 40 pills, and you take 2 a day.
I wouldn't know about it. I live over here.
And like a bed is like a couple $1,000s if you want something that's like decent. Like beds are so astronomically expensive because it's like you buy a bed maybe every 10 years, or you're supposed to at least. But I had like my bed for at least 10, probably more. It was just like falling apart at this point where I was like, I cannot sleep on this. Like I felt the springs poking in my side, so I was like, fuck this, I'm buying it. Like times like those, and when ad rev is really short, like in the early months of January, which is when this was happening, I was really tempted to fucking like to an ad sponsorship. Don't hear this and feel bad and like donate or go to the Patreon. Don't do that, please.
Don't give me money. If you hear this, do not give me money.
I don't want to be like this. Woe is me. Please give me money. I do not want it like sound like that. I don't want it to like come off like that. I feel like that's really weird. That's why I never like really plug my Patreon. I don't know. It's like a tip jar. I see it as like, I don't know. It's so weird. I don't like talking about any of these things. It's makes me uncomfortable. Like asking people for money. Like I'm not gonna begrudge anybody who's like, hey, Patreon, the whatever people say at their outro of their videos. I'm not gonna like begrudge anybody or be like you're shitty for doing that. Like I know some people act like that, which is a little silly to be like fuck you for saying you have a Patreon. But I don't know. I just feel really weird about.
I think the thing with the whole deal behind not just Patreon but sponsorship deals in general is that people tend to be swayed to the possibility of getting more bang for their buck at the cost of quality of presentation or possibly consistency of it, because when you're watching a video about an anime or a video game and then in the middle of it you see an extremely ham-fisted advertisement for a product you'll never care about, it takes you out of it a little bit. And when you see that some content creator is clearly forcing some of their production for the sake of adhering to some Patreon-related bonuses or features that they promised, it is a bit off-putting. I'm not the kind of person that like goes ahead, dislikes, and closes a video when they run into a sponsorship, but it is something I'll generally
just
skip
fast
through.
forward
Yeah,
if I'm not
same,
interested.
Yeah.
Like some people do it really interesting and make like funny skits out of it, and then other people just like really half-ass it and not in like a funny way.
Yeah, the problem is usually the company giving out the sponsorship doesn't let them be quirky or original about it. They just kind of they tell them what they want them to say, and these poor people try spinning it in some way that kind of makes it more in line with their usual style, but it always comes off as a bit forced, and you just want it to end at that point.
Yeah. An ad that was like really inserted in a video I watched recently, Internet Historian's Fall of 76, the Fall of 76 video. I'm pretty sure most people have watched it. It's got like 3 million views. The ad in the middle is like an example of like, he probably didn't get a lot to say or a lot to do with that, but it had to be in like the middle of the video. It just felt like a really weird inclusion.
I don't recall what it was, but I think
it was for a not National Geographic, but it was like a documentary website about like nonfiction. Like,
I remember. I think the way he presented it was actually kind of neat because
it was funny because like the did nobody research this? Oh no, I'm dying a virgin. That was kind of funny, but like
yeah, that's pretty good.
It just like felt like such a weird like where the fuck is this video going? Because it like. At first, it was seamless, which is kind of why I think it was funny, because I'm like, where the fuck is he taking any of this? What? I don't remember any meteor happening in Fall of 76. Did a meteor crash into fucking Todd Howard's office, and I don't remember?
Most people wish that it did.
I mean, I wouldn't want anything bad happening to him just because he made a bad game. Unless
he's
like
gonna show up on that stage on E3 this year, and people are gonna clap.
I mean, if he could somehow bring it back... I don't think they will. I don't expect them to, considering
Bethesda needs to knock it out of the park and do a double home run this year to salvage this shit.
I don't see how they possibly could, because I went back and watched my obligatory E3 video, because me, you, and a couple other friends watched it, E3 for the most part, and that was really fun. So I was like, I'll make an E3 video. And then I went back and I watched my E3 video and I was like, Fallout 76, it'll probably be okay. And I was like, what the fuck was I thinking? Then I went back and watched the E3 presentation, and pretty much everything they said wasn't true.
That game was a scam.
The E3, apparently there was like a second showing after the panel or the conference or whatever the fuck you call it, Bethesda's thing where that like really awkward musical thing happened for Rage 2 instead of having McGordon do Doom music, which would have been way better. Yeah, like apparently there was a second one after that where they went more in depth with what the game was actually going to be. I didn't fucking see that because I only watched the conferences. So that was where they said like, oh, there's no NPCs. Like, we thought there were going to be NPCs after that conference. We thought there was going to be more than nothing.
Of all the things they could have said about Fallout 76, the whole NPC deal was the one they handled in the weirdest way, at least before the launch of the game, because there was no need for them to go out and say that there are literally no NPCs. Like, lore-wise, there are NPCs in the game. There are robots. They said there are no human NPCs. And the way this was taken as, oh, there are no, like, standard NPCs that like, of the type that you would encounter in other Fallout games, and that is inherently terrible. Well, no, because the robots serve essentially the same purpose as most of the NPCs you find, like, as side quests throughout other Fallout games, which is fine. They just, because of the lore, there's no humans in the game aside from the players. And that's really not something they should have put so much attention on, because it got them extra negative press before the game even came out. It's just kind of funny to think about in retrospect.
Yeah. I don't know, that conference is weird. Like, I'm pretty sure nothing they said like was actually true about the game, other than maybe the map size.
It's 4 times as big. It's got 4 times as much nothing.
Yeah. I mean, Bethesda games already have very empty open worlds, so I don't know why you'd want to make it bigger. Like, Skyrim, I don't look back on that fondly. I don't know if that's like the hip thing to do now or not, but like...
Bethesda's worlds are fine.
After Skyrim, I kind of got like the disillusion, right? I think that's the right term to use. But after Skyrim, I was like, wait a minute. All these Western open world games are like hubs. So it's like you got your Whiterun, you got your... I can't remember any other town in Skyrim other than Whiterun. But you got that, and then you got like your path to the next town. So you got like...
And then you got the mountains and caves on the side.
And then you got the mountains and caves on the side. Between both of the towns, there's like fucking nothing.
Yeah. I mean, I generally think Bethesda's worlds are fine, and it's their storytelling that falls flat. I mean, it has been since after
I like Fallout 3.
That is still an extremely divisive opinion, and that I don't have my own on, but... You can go.
I know that's like the thing that people hate Fallout 3 now. I mean, granted, I haven't been able to play it in years because I can't get it to fucking run properly on my Windows 10 PC. But, I mean, I still have, like, fond memories. It was my first Fallout game, so maybe I have, like, the bias of that was the first game I played. But, like, there was a lot of cool moments in that game. Like, all the DLCs are really nice. Maybe that's why, because I played with all the DLCs, like, post all the DLCs, so... Like, I didn't have the stupid, like, oh, the game ends and it has, like, a shitty, half-baked ending kind of thing.
From what I know, Fallout 3 has generally better DLCs than New Vegas. Not too... Like, again, not a Fallout junkie, not too familiar on that front. But
I liked both. The only DLC from the Fallout games, that being New Vegas and 3, because I... barely put any time into 4 because I was bored to fucking tears. The only one I really disliked was Dead Money, I think it's called. It's the casino one. It was the first Fallout New Vegas one that had, like, you had a slave collar on because you got captured by, like, slavers, and it's like a bomb. So if you go into, like, certain areas of the Dead Money location, like, the sensors on the wall will make your collar beep, and if it beeps like 3 times or some shit, it like blows up and you insta die, and it's really fucking annoying because it was like a way to like block off areas of the game until after you got your collar off.
Oh man, that's a really cool concept, but if that's the way they handled it, it's kind of annoying.
Yeah, I just found it really annoying from what I remember. Mothership Zeta is still really cool. I think it's called Into the Pit, the one where you go to Pittsburgh and it's like a fucking Mad Max battle arena with like homeless people and weirdos, and you have to like save a baby. But if you're an asshole, you could eat the baby.
Fallout, dude. Hell yeah.
Then there was like the hillbilly one, which I'm pretty sure they did like something similar to in 4 with Far Harbor. I think it was Point Lookout was what it was called. I think that was the one I liked the least of the Fallout 3 DLCs. That one was just kind of meh. Then there was I think I already said Mothership Zeta. Then there was Operation
Anchorage.
Broken Steel.
No.
Or Anchorage.
Anchorage. There were Operation Anchorage and Broken Steel are different DLCs.
Okay, so yeah. I really like the one where you go into the past. That one was really cool. There was a lot of cool moments in 3. Maybe I won't look back on it as fondly if I actually got it to work and go back to it.
Again, as somebody who only knows Fallout as a side viewer, as a bystander, Fallout 3 is one of those insanely contentious games to talk about because nobody can ever agree on it.
Yeah,
people love it. People
people
hate
wouldn't
it.
like it, but like I don't think it's like the worst thing ever.
That's fair.
Yeah, I like it. It's not my favorite game, but I do have a lot of fond memories of it because I wasted like 300 hours on it in like fucking middle school, maybe. I think like 8th grade, 9th grade. Played a lot of fucking Fallout 3 in New Vegas. Well, really fun.
Fallout's cool. I like Fallout's aesthetics.
Yeah, I like a lot of its aesthetics. I don't like any of the aesthetics or anything established in 4. I actually actively hate almost everything about 4.
I like that 4 is as vibrant as it is.
I hate how all the characters look. I hate color choices.
that's Bethesda generally. Nothing.
I don't know, man. Their faces are even worse in 4.
I don't know, on an aesthetic level, I think they kind of nail Fallout's style of presentation, but technically Bethesda was never really up in the high echelon because yikes, it took them a long time to get to like a competent level of animation in their games.
Yeah, but I liked how they were janky. It's kind of like going back to old SMT games in a way, where it's like, I'm replaying Persona 4, and it's like charming how bad it is in some areas. Like some jank of it is really charming, and then other jank of it is like, fuck, why did they do this? Like random stat leveling is in Persona 5, random stat gaining is only for proficiency when you craft, because you could crit craft. So if you like get a crit while crafting, you make 3 lockpicks instead of 1, or 2 lockpicks instead of 1, depending on where your points are at the time. So then your proficiency goes up by 3 points instead of 2 points. And in fucking Persona 4, it is your knowledge goes up if you study at home by either 1 or 2, but you get like 2 points for 1 level up and 4 points for 2 like 2 points or thing. So it's like, just save and keep fucking doing it until you get until you get 2 points, so you can maximize your days.
Leveling your character's like human stats in Persona 3, because that's the one I played, was so tedious if you just wanted to hang out with the character, because god damn, I shouldn't have to be a Harvard level genius just to ask Mitsuru to go out to fucking McDonald's. Wait, you want that smart burger?
She wants that burger, and she wants you to be able to tell her about the burger.
About the ingredients.
Yeah.
Although it is pretty funny that Fuka requires your courage stat to be high because you need to be brave enough to eat what she makes.
Yeah.
Persona 3 is cool. I don't like the game part. The game part I could do with less of, but the everything else, that's pretty good. I wish it was a visual novel, is what I mean.
At times I do too, and at times I'm like, I don't know. The perfect balance for a Persona game, I feel like, is in a way where things don't overstay its welcome. Because while I was playing P5, because I finally finished replaying through P5 for the video.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. What was I saying? Yeah, oh yeah, so I played through all of P5 again, finally, after like 2 years. I played it when it first came out. And then it's just like, playing it with an 100% guide so I don't miss anything, you see a lot of the cracks in the game. Well, I mean, you see a lot of cracks in the first playthrough, but on my first playthrough, but I saw them even more now that it's like, this is my second time through. And if you're following an 100% guide, the most optimal way to do stuff is like, go do a dungeon in a single day, go do this and that. Like, so there's long periods of just like, I'm just hanging out with these people, or I'm just doing dungeon, and it's too much of one thing that it gets boring. Obviously, it's my fault for doing the 100% guide, or trying to do it like maximized, because that's technically not how the game is intended to play, because you're supposed to choose your own choices without knowing really what to do. It's like, oh, so if you're, because realistically, if you're sick of doing one thing, you're supposed to go do another. But like, to be efficient, it's like, hang out with this person until you get them to this rank so they could give you this perk, so you can go do this thing somewhere else. And it's just like, fuck, man, this dungeon sucks, or I really hate hanging out with this person, but I need to rank them up so I get their stat or their abilities.
You know what I wish Persona would commit to at some point, which I think this series really needs? Give us some fucking mini-games.
You want the Yakuza minigames?
I want the Yakuza minigames, because that would be so in line with how the game wants you to level your characters.
They started doing that in 5. You could play baseball. It's the only minigame that you could actually interact with.
Is that any good?
And it kind of... No.
There you go. Give us a set of Yakuza minigames for each one of your characters' human stats, and give us different places and ways to do them, to interact with. And it's actually going to be fun to level those stats at this point. Don't just make it a thing you can interact with. Get 2 lines that repeat start repeating after like the second time all the time. Like
the hamburger eating.
You ate the hamburger. You're super cool. Your coolness has increased just a little bit.
Yeah, the hamburger line, no matter which burger challenge you're on, because there's 3 or 4, I don't remember how many, but like, you go to eat the Fortnite burger, and it's like, there's like a whole head of lettuce, and the meat's cold. That's the same line you get every time.
You are epic!
You don't get anything new for, like, no matter, like, yeah, this seems like a small complaint, but like, a bunch of little complaints build up eventually, and stuff. Like, it just kind of bothers me that you do different tasks, or you progress through a challenge, and it just...
For Royal, we need to take all the effort they're putting into making Human Morgana and push it into the mini-games. I fixed the game. Not really, but I've improved it.
I can't figure... yeah, they did announce Royal since the last time we did this. I have no idea how they're going to do Human Morgana. Like, what the fuck are they going to do? That character doesn't have a character.
It wasn't necessary. Then again, I mean, I wanted to say human Teddy wasn't necessary, but that was in the original game, and they wanted to do something with that, but...
Yeah, they did something like that.
Yeah, but Human Morgana is just kind of a bonus at this point, I guess. So we're getting that.
For the Fujos.
Yeah.
I don't, like... The only way I could think he comes in is, spoiler for Persona 5, it's been 2 years, skip ahead like 5 minutes in the video, because I'm probably going to forget to put a time code. At the end of Persona 5, Morgana fades away, like...
Thanos?
Not Thanos, like, you fix the world, and he's like, goodbye, guys. And then he didn't, because the game didn't want to commit to actually killing off a character, so he just comes right back, like, a month later. He's like, I didn't want to come back right away. It would have been awkward, so I had been eating garbage in town for, like, the past month.
Then everybody left, and they all went into the sunset. The end.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if that's when he shows up as a human, is like, oh, I'm a human now. Because that scene is legitimately... Yeah, at the very end. Because that's... Well, we're having 3 more months now, so...
I don't think they're gonna add those months at the very end.
Well, who knows where they're... I mean, they have to be, because it's another semester, I believe, isn't it?
You
just... Because you don't... because the game ends on Christmas, and then you don't have control of your character for like 2 months, and then it's suddenly you leave for you leave in March, I believe, or the end of February. I don't really remember. It's my memory is still shit with all the days. Like, so there's like a huge chunk where you don't have control, and it just like time skips. One while you're in jail, that makes sense, unless they rewrite it so you don't end up going to jail for 2 months. But even then, even when you get out, you still have like 2 weeks, I believe, of just like you don't get to control the game. The game just jumps from when you get out of jail until the day you leave, because you get out on Valentine's Day or the day before Valentine's Day, and then you spend Valentine's Day with whoever you romance. And I don't know if like the candies give you anything special. I know because like each romance option you have they give you like a special item during events if you hang out with them. Like depending on who you hang out with during the culture festival, like Makoto gives you like Makoto's takoyaki, or Kawakami gives you her whatever the fuck, and Haru does this, and Makoto does does that. Like they all give you like a special. I want to say, I don't know if they're key items or consumables. They might be key items, but
how can they be key items if they randomly give them to you?
Because it's a story event.
Oh.
Because it's not random.
So if they were key items, they would be extra useless?
I don't remember. I'd have to go back and check. I don't think I didn't actually hang out with any girls in this playthrough because
just like real
life. Yeah, just like real life. I didn't hang out with any girls during the culture festival because that's by the end of the game, and you have a limited amount of days to max out the last remaining S-links. So I had to say I had to hang out with Yusuke so I could max my points out. Or so I could get points towards the next rank for Yusuke, so I wouldn't have to like run out of time. Realistically, I didn't have to do that, but like the guide told me to, so I did it. I shouldn't have done it in retrospect because it's like I could have easily still got the link to 10 because there's like a huge chunk at the very end of the game where the guide was like, here's where you're going to go fishing every day. Here's where you're going to play video games every day. Here's where you're going to read every day so you get all the achievements. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck about reading. I don't give a fuck about the fish or playing the video games. So I just hung out with people on the extra dates, which like some characters have more than others. Some don't have them at all, which is annoying, but whatever.
How long is the game like right now in total after you've been doing all this?
My game time was 108 hours, but I did leave it on a few times and fell asleep, or I went to the gym. So like my time is a little inflated. So I would say it's like at least 90 hours.
Yeah, that's how much it took me to beat Persona 3, and why I cannot imagine myself sitting down and playing these games on a couch in the living room, because Persona 3 Portable, while arguably not the greatest way to experience Persona 3, is the best way to play that game. Because when it comes to just the general gameplay portion. Because
the dungeon grinding.
The dungeons, well, aside from the fact that you can take direct control of your characters, which I don't, it saves a lot of time. It saves a lot of time in the management menu, and talk what you will about the node-based interaction on the world map, because you don't explore, you can just drag your cursor around. That saves a lot of time too, I guess you could say.
You do have fast travel, so it doesn't like really make that much of a difference.
But it's a little less immersive, but it doesn't matter that much to me, honestly. I mean, you still get to interact with characters and everything. And one specific thing that stands out is the direction during cutscenes, where while in the original Persona 3 on the PS2, as is the case, I think, with Persona 4 and possibly 5, you would get these really awkward long pauses in between dialogue with characters while they turn around or do some dumb shit.
Yep. They still do that in Persona 5.
Okay, that's great to know.
They haven't mastered the technology of having your character turn and walk at the same time. So it looks like RE1 tank controls like like 180 rotate and then walk away.
But
It looks really weird.
in Persona 3 Portable, because all you get is a background and character portraits, it flows a lot more naturally because it's like a visual novel and it's pretty good. Not annoying to look at or cringeworthy to experience, to sit through. I will still object to some of the voice acting in that game. While I think the English dub is fine, I think Yukari and Fuka specifically come to mind because I don't think they were up to par in that game. Tara Platt as Mitsuru is pretty great. Junpei's voice actor nailed it. Akihiko is my man Liam O'Brien, so no complaints about that front. But yeah, the cutscenes always kind of a nasty deal in Persona for one reason or another.
There, for the most, since I'm replaying 4 now, because I'm just like, I'm in an JRPG kick right now, and I was like, you know what? I want to replay 4. I was replaying Nocturne, but I was like, I want to replay 4. So I put Nocturne to the side, I put Nocturne back on the shelf. Eventually I'll go back and replay Nocturne. But, I was just enjoying myself, thinking the dub is pretty good. Remembering, I prefer Sam Riegel as Teddy, which he was post Persona 4 base edition on the PS2. Sam Riegel is Teddy in every release after it, like the arena, animations,
Golden,
dance game, Golden. Chie also has a different voice actress. I like both. I'm not really picky about it, but
Steak.
the dub's good until the basketball kid shows up. And he goes,
balls!
Hi. Yeah, Mr. I love, you know me, I love cleaning balls. So his name is Ko Ichijo. Do you know how they say his name?
Oh no.
Ko Ichijo.
Ah, God, it's like listening to an anime YouTuber.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh no, these names are wrong. I'm just like, one time he said Ichijo and then he said Ichijo.
That reminds me of some Yu-Gi-Oh YouTuber that read out the name Abe of one of the
Abe?
Was it? Yes. I don't know what context it was. It wasn't Shinzo Abe as far as I know, but there was an Abe that he very casually read as Abe. Which was
I have no idea who you're talking about, but that sounds funny.
Me neither. I just remember finding that.
Who was it that we were talking to that went Shinzo Abe? We know somebody who said that.
I don't know who said Shinzo Abraham, but that is a really funny way to say it. Shinzo Abe.
Yeah, Shinzo Abe. So I'm enjoying myself with Persona 4.
You've been playing Persona 4, huh?
Yep.
Speaking of kids solving mysteries and weird shit going on, today I watched the 2017 remake of Stephen King's It for the first time.
Oh, how'd you like it? I still have not watched it.
I have heard so much praise for that movie when it came out. To the point,
my friends were raving about it.
To the point where I saw articles and people claiming that it's the scariest horror movie in the last decade. So I
mean, most horror movies aren't very good, so like
fair,
unless it's...
But with a descriptor like that, you do have to come into this movie with some expectations on the horror part being somewhat high. I came out of this movie feeling that I could do with so much less of the horror parts because they were so ridiculously underwhelming, and just replace them with these characters. And even then, there was one character who I didn't like so much. I'll get back to this. The horror parts of It 2017, every single scene plays out exactly the same. Now, I haven't read the original book. I have watched the TV series.
The TV movie fucked me up as a kid. I should not have seen that.
The first half of the TV movie is actually decent. It's pretty good. I think it probably holds up to at this point. I can't.
Dude, that made me scared of the fucking storm drains as a kid.
Well, that's the thing. The original TV movie is famous because it made a bunch of kids scared, and then they grew up and they're still scared of the movie. And I think that is partially why the remake had such a good reception. But that aside, I genuinely don't think this movie was scary, and I'm not saying that to be some kind of a super cool Chad. It's not scary horror movies. I think after the first 3 scary scenes played out exactly the same, I got essentially used to it. Now, it may be because I am familiar with the story due to having watched the original before, and I know the outcome of scenes, but every single scary scene in this movie, as I said, follows the same formula. A kid or a group of kids is hanging out doing a thing. They notice something slightly weird. They go out like dipshits to investigate it as opposed to, getting away. The weirdness amps up, and then a loud noise happens, and the music is really loud and aggressive, and there's a bunch of really loud, clangy shit going on, and the character is screaming to let you know that they are scared, and the music is really loud to let you know that you should be scared, and there's a clown going and then something interrupts the scene, or the character escapes, and the scare moment is over. Every single scary scene in the movie is this. And it gets annoying. And another thing that gets annoying is the kid played by Finn Wolfhard, the kid from Stranger Things that they decided to put in because Stranger Things is a big deal and was a big deal back then.
He's a good actor.
He's a good actor, but the way he was written in this movie, I don't know if it's true to the book or anything, but it felt like he was written for a focus group. Because in so many of the intense scenes, the few that there are in this movie that genuinely made me feel emotionally invested, they make him say some stupid Marvel quip for the sake of making him the quirky cool kid that Tumblr will make posts about how much they love him and shit. For instance, at the very end of the movie, where they manage to beat the clown and toss him back into the drain, and it seems like everything is over, and the whole tension and horror of the scene is a bit relieved, and you kind of want to sit there and see what happens next. And this motherfucker comes in saying, "Guess I know what I'm writing about for my summer report." Ba-boom. At that point, I paused the movie and screamed at the screen, "Shut up! Shut the fuck up! You've been doing this the entire movie. You're so annoying." Aside from that, I think the kid actors were pretty good and cool, and I didn't have much objection to any of the other characters. It is very much a character-driven story, and I think it's cool for a horror story to be based around characters overcoming their fears together in a place that makes it actively difficult for them. And when it comes to the general character development of the movie, and when you compare it to how the old special handled it, it's probably better. I haven't watched the TV movie in quite a while, so I wouldn't know, but this remake decently excels, that's not a good way to put it. It is good at showcasing character development that stems from overcoming fears. And I think in that regard it nails the tone. But when it comes to the horror, it does not know subtlety. Like, the TV special was a bit silly in some places, because it was made during, late 80s, early 90s. But it...
Something like that.
Yeah,
I think it was late 90s.
It was good because it was creeping on you. Not every scary scene was a big jump scare and loud noises to let you know that, okay, here's where you should be getting scared. He had a creepy clown played by the one and only Tim Curry, who did he did a banging job on that special. He was the best part about it. And he was creepy as he was funny. And this new clown is not funny. He doesn't do anything clown-like, really, aside from the first scene where he hits the kid, where he tries kind of luring him in.
Doesn't he do like a weird funny dance?
He does a weird funny dance, but in like... I don't know if you were supposed to...
It's probably in Fortnite.
Oh my god, I think you may be right. Yeah, I don't know the names of these dances, but yeah,
I don't know, but I always assume funny dance haha thing from movie is now in Fortnite. Just like how people are memeing about the new Sonic movie, it's gonna have fucking a Uganda Knuckles joke, probably.
Yeah,
and I
Sonic's
just want to like
floss.
gouge my eyes out.
I don't think it's gonna do Uganda Knuckles, but it's gonna use the word meme at least once.
It's gonna. There's no fucking way that these like old people who are like, let's make a Sonic
Somebody
movie.
in the movie is gonna say, "Do you know the way?" In some context, is what I'm giving it. But yeah, back to it. Fine movie. I said what I'm annoyed by. I said what I like. Again, the kids are pretty good actors. I don't think the whole bad parenting is as ham-fisted as it kind of was in the old special. I'm kind of hyped for part 2. Did
you see the trailer for part 2?
Yeah, I did. That was a really good
It looks
teaser.
really cool.
Yeah.
It looks like a really good trailer. I was like, that actually looks pretty scary.
I think if they... I mean, the trailer still did the whole, okay, creepy stuff going on, creepy stuff intensifies, loud noise! But the concept of the scene at least is pretty creepy. So
yeah, like some scenes look like visually interesting.
Yeah, there's for the budget the movie had, I think 35 million, which is not a lot, all things considered, in the modern sphere of things.
That's like a pretty low, like, lower end.
The practical effects were pretty good, but whenever the CGI came on, any sense of unease or creepiness that I had was immediately swept away by the CGI looking like a PS3 cutscene. There's a scene early on in the movie when they're showcasing the kid's fears, where this kid is walking by a creepy painting in his house, and the painting falls over while he walks away from it. So he gets back, lifts the painting up, puts it back onto the wall, and then the creepy deformed person from the painting is gone, and he turns around and this person is now real because Pennywise took the form of that person, and it grins at him and he screams and runs away. But it's animated so sloppily, it looks aggressively CGI. And it doesn't even look like something that would be that hard to make with a practical effect, but they went with CGI anyway because it's really scary, we promise. Look at the scary sound we put up with this. There's also a part near the end where this creature reappears, like the thing from the painting, and at this point, like near the end of the movie, I knew none of the kids were going to die, but the situations that they've been getting put in felt insanely contrived for them to not be killed at that moment. Because one of the kids gets separated from the group and caught by the clown in the form of that deformed painting. And when they manage to find the kid, basically you see that this painting creature is eating his face. Like, it has its mouth on his head like Alien. And you see that and it looks really freaky and you think, oh, that kid is gone. And they show up and what happens is the thing looks at him and removes his mouth from the kid's head and runs away for no reason. And what happened is that the kid at most has a few scratches on his head and he's fine. He just joins them and they go off. And it's so bizarre. I know that the clown feeds on fear, but if he can and will kill the kids to eat them, because he apparently needs to eat them physically too, and he can do it at any moment, I don't know why he just, doesn't. But aside from some weird behavior of the clown, I don't think there was that much logical inconsistency in the movie. There was a weird scene where the girl hallucinates like a metric fuck ton explosion of blood in her bathroom. Yeah.
Where the walls get covered in blood.
Everything is blood, and it's all blood, and like, okay, we get it, movie. And they do this thing where all of them come to the bathroom, and they pair up the cleaning sequence with some cheesy 80s music. And that movie, that scene felt so out of place. It was like, what tone are they going for here? Stranger Things or Silent Hill? Because you're jumping periodically from one to the other. Make up your mind. Like, I think the old TV special genuinely put the tone, set the tone a lot better than this movie. Again, I wouldn't not recommend it, but I sincerely don't think it's as deserving of praise as it got. Because I don't think this movie should have made 700 fucking million.
It's probably the least obnoxious big budget horror movie to come out. I mean, it's obnoxious. Don't get me wrong. I'm not not gonna act like it's not. But I think it was different enough from what we've been getting for horror movies. Like, when you think of horror movies recently, I think of like fucking schlock. I think like Slender Man. I think what else?
Did you know that there's like that the Purge is basically an annual franchise of movies at this point?
Is there more than 3 Purges? I know there was a third one.
I'm pretty sure there's more than 3 Purges. There was a Purge based on the American election.
Yeah, that was the last one, I thought.
I think there's one after it.
Because there was Purge 1 and 2, and then there was Purge like election day or year or some bullshit.
I think there was a Purge in 2018, not sure. Who watches these movies?
People who just want to watch torture porn but don't want to watch torture porn.
Yeah, but it's not even that good. Like, if that's what you're looking for in a horror movie. Whatever. Horror needs some revitalization.
Yeah. I mean, there's still some good horror movies. You just gotta look for them, like Slow Cooking. I really liked the first half of The Ritual. It's a Netflix movie. I think I talked about it before on here. I think I talked about it on one of the other episodes. I don't know if it was on the third one
I should look up some horror on Netflix sometime.
I said we should watch The Ritual. It's really cool. Bunch of guys go hiking in Norway or Sweden, some European country. They're in like bumfuck nowhere mountains, and they're like, storm's coming, we gotta go back. It'll be faster if we cut through these woods between the borders. And one of them's like, that sounds like a bad idea. And I go, yeah, that sounds like a bad idea.
Do they go through with it?
They go through with it.
Of course, hell yeah.
And it's like, for the first half, it's a really cool psychological thriller. I think people might find it boring, but it's right up my alley for like weird shit that I like, or it's like, what the hell is going on kind of thing. And then I'm not going to say what happens in like the last 30 minutes to 40 minutes.
Does it shit the bed?
I don't think it shits the bed. It just becomes like a totally different movie, and I didn't like it. I think we should watch it after this.
You know about Martyrs?
It sounds familiar.
Hold up, you're cutting off.
That sounds really familiar.
Martyrs is a horror movie that also changes completely halfway through. And I cannot describe it without giving away spoilers, but conceptually it's really cool to see what this kind of generic slasher movie turns into once it passes the halfway mark, because it does something really weird and interesting, and I'm glad that it went that way, because otherwise it wouldn't have been anything special. It's not groundbreaking or anything, but it will make you go, huh, well that was interesting. Watch Martyrs. I don't want to spoil it, just do it. Don't look up what happens. Lake Mungo. Very sad movie. He has one jump scare. I'm not also gonna say where, but the movie builds up to it very well, and it doesn't feel out of place or obnoxious, and I wish more movies knew how to do proper jump scares, as opposed to... Now you're scared.
Yeah. Now you're scared. You play Big Bang sound.
Don't you scared?
Like, sounds like you dropped like a fucking metal beam in a steel factory. And that's your jump scare sound.
Making the It's 2017 scary scenes. Alright, bring the pots and pans. Dung, 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 dung.
Yeah, bring the pots and pans in, God. That was like the one big complaint I always heard about that movie was like, fuck, those sounds are so obnoxious.
I wish there was some kind of an alternate cut that just removes all the sound effects from the horror scenes. I think the movie would genuinely be scarier that way.
Yeah. Nothing makes me unscared, like not scared, than telling me to be scared.
The scary pan noises are the horror movie equivalent to laugh tracks.
The scary
in sitcoms.
pan noises and the scary pan noises and the scary violin shrieking.
Yeah.
Like it's not even like they have different ones, they're always the fucking same.
You know what I liked? The first 3 episodes of Stranger Things. Have you watched Stranger
Things? Yeah, I watched both seasons.
Yeah, me too. I
know people hate the second one. I'm like, it was okay.
I like both seasons, but I specifically like the first 3 episodes of Stranger Things season 1. I think, while it doesn't tie everything up, I think that's a really good, well-acted and tragic standalone story that stands on its own. And it's scarier when you don't know what's going on exactly.
If you want something that stays with a tone like that, you should watch Dark. It's another Netflix series. There's only 1 season right now. It takes place in Germany in like a small town, so weird Euro horror. It's like
that's my job.
I love Euro horror. That's like I don't know if this is like a coined term or not, but I'm gonna call it that. Like Euro jank and like European horror has like a very specific.
Yeah, dude. That's
feel
whenever I go outside at night. It's great.
So I can't spoil anything about it, but Dark is really cool. I think you should watch it, and we should talk about it the next episode of the podcast whenever we do that.
I'm gonna check it out.
It's only 12 episodes, I believe, and it's really good. I really like it.
Okay.
It's got a really cool tone. It's got a lot of... It has like a dark color tone. Like everything is very blue and very...
What do you think? It's not called Bright. That's also on Netflix, but it's bad. Don't look at it.
What I was gonna say is it has a lot of dark colors to it, but it doesn't like make it unwatchable. Like, what the fuck am I looking at? Kind of like, I know people were complaining about one of the Game of Thrones episodes this season was like they can't see what's happening because the show was too dark.
It's so dark.
The
White Walkers just couldn't even see.
The color choices and the lighting are really good, and they don't sacrifice visibility and clarity to have them look really nice.
That's good.
Like the show looks nice. There's like a nuke silo near them from like Cold War. It's really weird. It's like the power plant. It's fucking bizarre. I really like the show. I watched it on a whim because Kojima was tweeting about it. And I was like, I'll check that out if Kojima's talking about it. And I was like, oh, this is pretty good. I like this. I like it.
I stopped following Kojima on Twitter a while ago, but I do recall my favorite thing that he would post was those sandwiches he brings to work.
Yeah.
They look really good.
I stopped following Kamiya because he was just like
blocking
spamming
people?
my thing. Well, just spamming my thing with incomprehensible garbage. Like I follow a lot of manga artists. And they do that too because I can't read Japanese, so it's just fucking white noise on my timeline. But at least they post a bunch of art, so it doesn't bother me as much. Kamiya never posts pictures, I think. It's just like walls of fucking Japanese text. I'm like, I can't understand this. Sorry, Kamiya, I like you. I like your games. Something. Probably. It's probably hilarious. Maybe I should translate some of the tweets sometimes, but I don't care enough. Like... I've never translated a single Japanese artist tweet I follow. I just follow them to see like progress on chapters and cute art they do. Like the manga artist who made Girls Last Tour.
No, that's cool.
I follow them because they just post like random art and stuff. They have a cool style.
That's neat. Sometimes I click on a thing to translate it, and then Google Translate comes in and trips over a shelf and breaks both its legs and tries sputtering something out, but then the shelf knocks its head off, and then it's incomprehensible, and then I regret ever spending my 2 seconds on it. What I played was a game called Descenders.
How was it?
Dude,
You were trying to get me to buy it, and I said no.
oh, was I?
Yeah, you were like, does anyone want to buy it? And I was like, and play it with me.
Oh,
I was
no,
like,
no,
I'll
no.
pass
You
it.
can't play it with someone, as far as I'm aware. You can... you know what? I'll tell you how it works. It's, Did I describe to you what it is?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna string some words here together, and I'm gonna need you to stick with me.
Okay.
It's a roguelite downhill biking game.
All right.
So the way it works is you spawn into a hub, you see a bunch of other players in doing little tricks and stuff, and you go into the menu and you start the career mode, and this is your main method of progression. And the way it works is there are different biomes. You start with the hillside biome, you progress through nodes, you go through maybe 6 or 7 nodes on each map, and each node is a different stage. These stages are graded from 1 to 10, I think, in 3 different categories, which is steepness, curvature, and stunts. It should be pretty self-explanatory what they are. And you have a bicycle, a downhill bike. And as a fan of watching downhill biking, this game is pretty fucking fun because it controls super tight. And the way the roguelite aspect works is while you're progressing through career mode, you do a bunch of tricks and you get points, and the more points you get, the more you can unlock crew members, and crew members last only during a run, and they give you different benefits, such as reduces curvature of maps, gives you a compass that shows you where the finish line is, improves your handling off-road, etc., etc. And at the end of each biome there is a boss stage that requires you to do a big jump, and when you do it 3 times in one biome, it unlocks the next one, so you don't have to beat that one to access it. And there's a lot of really varied biomes, each with their own challenge. And the tricks you can pull off in this game aren't really kind of varied skate level. They're not Tony Hawk, they're not Skate 3, but they're pretty serviceable for an indie bike game. And it's really satisfying to manage to nail them down and pull them off. I feel like your bike moves way too fast on occasion, so that you keep crashing over and over again. And you have 4 lives at the start, and whenever you beat a bonus objective in a stage, you gain a life when you finish it. But if you crash, you lose a life, and if you crash super hard, you lose 2 lives. So there's a kind of life economy going on. The thing is, what I figure out after a while of playing, you only have to cross the finish line, and you don't tend to have, like, many restrictions or challenges on the way to do so. So you could theoretically just ignore all the bonus objectives or tricks and stunts and just kind of move at your own pace, super easy, super slow, and just go through and finish the stage with literally no challenge whatsoever. And it's a bit weird that the progression in that game is essentially tied to going through these stages and unlocking random cosmetics, because you can't customize your bike or character or whatever outside of a run, because that's how a roguelite works, because everything needs to be a roguelite nowadays. But the main thing that keeps me going back to that game, despite it being so lacking in features, is how tight it controls. Because I already said it, but
I'm looking at a GIF of it right now, and
Yeah?
it looks really smooth.
it is super smooth to control, and oftentimes I'll crash my bike just trying to do a super cool trick that flows from one into another, but hey, I don't mind, because it's fun to just ride around in that game. I wish there was some sort of free roam so I could do it more, but I keep coming back to this game that I already decided doesn't have that much going for it because the control is so good and satisfying. So it's, I think, on a discount right now on Steam for another day. And I think the price they're asking for here might be a bit too much for the amount of content you get. But if you're really into downhill biking, because I am, you could really get a good kick out of this one. It's cool. I think more people should be playing it, because I was really surprised to see that the Steam player numbers are as low as they are. The multiplayer is, from what I can tell, basically non-existent, because what it amounts to is you can see other players on the map, in the lobby and on the stage, but you can't interact with them, and there's no collision detection or anything. You're basically seeing ghost data. So it's kind of disappointing. But yeah, it's a cool little game. I don't recall how I ran into it, but I'm pretty happy that I got it. It's neat and good and cool. Vroom vroom.
All right, so while you're talking about a game you enjoyed buying, actually, before I go into that, I want to talk about, since going back to P4. So since my PS3s, I kept buying old models that had the backwards compatibility, so it would be easy to record with. Eventually, those break because they have a horrible design flaw of playing the fucking PS2 emulation too much, and it'll just melt your fucking GPU or something.
Awesome.
Like, it just fucking overheats itself because it doesn't have proper ventilation. So I was like, fuck it, I'll buy a PS2. And that's what I did. I bought a PS2, and it didn't look good. I bought like a cheap, like component, or not component, AVI to HDMI converter box. It was like $5 maybe, not even, and it looked like shit. And I was like, this looks like shit, but I'll deal with it. And then one day I was like, you know what? I could probably make this look better. So I did some research, and I found a cable called the Pound HDMI link converter cable. And it's you just plug the HDMI, you plug one end, actually like naturally goes into the PS2, whatever their like cable end like port is. I don't know what the fuck it's called, but it's like proprietary. It's not like I think every console has like the proprietary power supply port, except for like PS3 and PS4. They're like the same, identical, because I believe the power supply is just inside the consoles, so you don't have like the bricks like Microsoft has for their consoles. So it's the plugs in naturally to the PS2, and then has a little box, and it's powered by plugging itself into the PS2, one of the HDMI slots, or you could just do like a little wall plug if you didn't want to do that, if you were for some reason using the HDMI ports on the PS2, which I've never seen them. Oh, that's not true. You use them for the microphone and the High School Musical 2 game. But
very important.
Which I had, which was my first microphone when I made videos as a kid. That was what I used. It was a magical experience. But so yeah, it goes, and then it just plugs right into your TV, and it looks great. I have a comparison of Nocturne. That was before I messed around with more settings on my TV and the PS2. But Persona 4 looks excellent on it. There's like no blur. There's no fucking stretching. It's in 4:3, but that doesn't bother me because it looks good and it's clear and nice. It was $20, and it was a excellent investment. I would highly recommend if someone wants to play the PS2 on HD TV or a 4K TV, anything with like an HDMI port, if you can't get like component or composite cables.
Shout outs to Cool Cable, whatever it's called. What is it called?
Yeah, but the Pound HDMI link cable. Pound is in all caps, I believe. But now going to my regrettable purchase, I mean, partially regrettable. I still haven't played the game. Atlas has me by the balls right now, okay?
I noticed.
I want to... They have me by the balls. Atlas is living in my brain rent-free. Atlas is literally rent-free in my mind these past, like, 2 months.
Projecting.
I've been playing nothing but Atlas-related games or RPGs like them. So, I got off of playing Persona 5, right in the script, and I'm like, that was an experience. It was okay. It was mixed. There was some good. There was a lot of bad. There was a lot of good. As I remembered it, there was more bad this time because I was like, I knew the stories, and so you could always analyze stories more on the second viewing, and I was just like,
Oh man, some of these stories do not hold up at all. Holy shit, some of these S-Links are fucking terrible for multiple reasons, which I'll get into whenever that video comes out. So I was like, you know what? I'll buy the dancing game. And I did. I bought the special edition, or I think it's called the Endless Night Collection, because it comes with Dancing in the Moonlight, which is Persona 3, and then Dancing in the Starlight, which is Persona 5. And it comes, which I didn't know this, but it comes with a digital code to Persona 4 Dancing All Night. So you get all 3 games, and it was only $60. I was like, damn, that's a steal. Apparently this was $100 or something at launch. You can look up what it looks like right now. I implore anyone who's listening to look up what the Endless Night Collection looks like in the promotional images, and then look up what it actually is. I don't know if there was any controversy when this came out. I hope there was, because it doesn't look like anything in the promotional material at all.
In what way?
Well, for one, I thought I was getting an art book that was separate. Turns out, the game is art book and game case together. Made with a cheap cardboard that feels like if it got even slightly wet, it would break. It's poorly bound, so the pages are poorly bound, so they're like bound in a way where art is cut off because they're like stapled badly, like together. There's already ripping, like the binding is already fucked up to begin with because it's poorly made, and then you get to the disc section, and it's, you know, when there's like a 2-disc DVD thing, there's like the floppy one, like there's like the floppy plastic with that disc. That's not there. They're just 2 discs stacked on top of each other.
You put them in at the same time.
Yeah, just one right on top of the other. I don't know if a Blu-rays can get scratched or not, but if they can, fuck, they're probably gonna with this thing. It's cheap. It doesn't look like what the fucking promo is. Let me go on Amazon and pull it up and send it to you. And just like anybody, go to Amazon and look at the Endless Nights collection. And yeah, it looks like shit. It feels like shit. It feels really cheap. I haven't played the game yet, so I'm not going to say anything about the game.
Oh, I wanted to ask you, is dancing in your soul? Does dancing make you whole? But now I can't because you haven't played it.
No, yeah, I haven't played the game. I got it the other day, and then I was just like, let me finish Kingdom Hearts 3 first, and then I'll play this. But then I decided, you know what? I want to play Persona 4 again. So this playthrough, I didn't mention it earlier, I'm doing the music club because I never did the music club, because who did the music club? Everyone went with drama club. So no one hung out with the tuba gremlin, or I think she played trombone or tuba. She played an instrument. She wasn't very good at it. But no one ever, I've never seen a single person hang out with her ever. The only time is in the anime where the S-Link for the son in the anime is her instead of the drama club girl. I remember because I watched it and I was like, who the fuck is this? And then I remember listening to the Friendcast and Pat was rewatching it as well. And he's like, who the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? Because Yu Narukami goes up and she's like, and then plays her trombone really bad out and like on the floodlands or the flooded plains or something. Whatever. So yeah, I also joined soccer club because I did basketball all the time with Ko Ichijo, as the game says. So now I'm hanging out with Daisuke something, aka Chadsuke, because he looks like the Chad meme. I don't know if because you haven't played Persona 4, right?
Nope. I know a substantial amount of things about Persona 4, but I haven't really played it. I also have the most controversial opinion about Persona 4, and that is the default battle theme is ear grating. I think Reach Out for the Truth is an annoying song.
So yeah, when I said I didn't play the dancing game because I wanted to finish Kingdom Hearts 3, I did finish Kingdom Hearts 3. I was very mad when I finished Kingdom Hearts 3.
That's the general sentiment I hear.
I have since cooled down. I am not as mad. I was 200% mad. You know the Raiden memes, 200% mad. That was me.
Again,
I've since cooled down. I still think it is really disappointing in a lot of areas.
the general
But-
consensus I hear about that game's start and end, well, not start as much as initial section of looking for a thing. Looking for a Kingdom Heart. Well, not really, but Sora's looking for something in that game. And people are criticizing that part of the story for being bloated and unnecessary. And then criticizing the ending for being... for feeling super health chub. Which I guess is what I got from you describing going through it. Please do tell.
I would have liked the ending far more if everything wasn't just crammed into the final hours of the game.
Yeah, I hear the game is extremely backloaded.
It's extremely backloaded, like all the overarching plot is like all there. There's still like some bits and pieces you get during the main story, but nothing like substantial or in any way. Like, I was talking to a friend because I'm just gonna spoil Kingdom Hearts 3, jump like 40 minutes ahead in the video.
40?
Okay, maybe not 40. Jump like 15 minutes ahead. I have 15 minutes to talk about this starting now. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Spoiler zone. Okay, at the very end of the game, you have a bunch of 3-on-3 fights. So you like, it's one fight is you, Mickey, and Riku, or not Riku, but it's no, it was just you and Mickey versus 3 organization members. And then it was like you and Riku versus a clone of Riku. The guy with the eye patch, if you know who that is, Braig or Zigbar.
I know Braig and Zigbar.
Okay, yeah. So and Ansem from Kingdom Hearts 1, Ansem Seeker of Darkness. So then there's that fight, and then there's Marluxia, Larxene, and Luxord. There's a fight of those 3. Then there is, as I call it, the Nort Court, where you fight young Xehanort, Xemnas, and Ansem Seeker of Darkness all at once. And all these fights are lame mechanically because none of the characters are really got much to them. They all have like 2, 3, maybe 4 moves, because you're not supposed to be fighting one at a time. You're supposed to be fighting all 3 at once. But what I ended up just doing is like most efficiently is just focusing down one person and chasing them as they teleport around, because all of them teleport, of course. And it just feels really lacking that way. My friend was like, yeah, I see where you're coming from, but it makes sense from like a narrative standpoint that they're gonna like gang up on you and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, it makes sense that they do that, but I still find it like really lacking, especially like compared to their Kingdom Hearts 2 counterpoints. Yes, I'm a Kingdom Hearts 2 dick rider. I don't care. I think the boss fights for all of the characters you fought that were in Kingdom Hearts 2 are far better boss fights than the 3-on-3s or the 3v fights in Kingdom Hearts 3. Thematically and spectacally, they're really fucking cool fights, but mechanically, it's all style, no substance. It's spectacle over substance, and it makes me sad because like I should be losing my shit that I'm fighting all 3 of the Xehanorts at once.
Apparently, critical mode adds the substance.
I only did like the very beginning of critical mode because my save was out way before, or my save was started before critical mode was out. But I've heard that it just makes a bunch of fights like chip damage, and that sounds really unfun.
I've heard otherwise. I've heard people really like the critical mode.
I've heard nothing but I've heard mixed from like all the speedrunner people and the people who play it really hard, like Kingdom Hearts games really hardcore and are super into it and like master the combat systems and try to get as much out of it as possible. They're like, yeah, critical mode has some issues, but like people who aren't, not saying like, not be like the casuals, but like people who will play on hard difficulties but don't like try to not milk them, but like try to squeeze out every little morsel out of them as they can, seem to like it. I don't know. The thing that's like really turned me off is just the hearing about chip damage, because like I do not want to be in a fucking 20-minute fight because this guy's taking peanut damage from me. That sounds incredibly unfun.
There's just one thing that drives me insane, and that is the Lingering Will in that game. They did him so dirty.
Oh,
Lingering Will is
yeah.
one of the coolest things ever. The Lingering Will is so fucking cool. He's so lame in this game. He gets one scene and he's so fucking lame. He's ungodly lame.
Well,
For one, he talks, so it ruins like the whole Silent Soldier motif.
Damn. I only know about what goes on with Terra in that context, because turns out to be Xehanor's guardian.
Yeah.
And
that scene was kind of cool in a bubble, but at the same time, I really wish instead of that scene we had the Lingering Will saving the day. Because the Lingering Will is so fucking cool. So yeah, they made Terra talk, or they made the Lingering Will talk, which kind of ruined the whole like weird, like creepy vibe you get from 2, and then the really cool silent fight you get in BBS, even if that fight like mechanically sucks because all the boss fights in the game are shit.
I heard Kyrie gets really done dirty.
Yeah, Kyrie gets murdered. She dies. She just straight up dies.
Goodbye.
But they bring her back, so don't worry, it's fine.
Okay. But then Sora dies. But then not
Sora
really.
dies, yeah. But who knows?
No one's ever really gone.
No one's ever really gone. They set up so much stuff for future games, like more than usual, that it's like it felt so unsatisfying, especially because all the payoff felt really rushed by the end. Like the setup and twist at the very end of the secret movie is super cool, and I'm like, what? But it makes me mad because who knows?
Yeah,
who knows when this and then this is going to be answered? B, does this mean I have to play the mobile game?
I don't
want to.
I don't think so. I just think Nomura wants you to play Versus 13 finally, and he's gonna make you do it.
I wish we got Versus 13. Versus 13 was so much cooler than 15. I love the mafia aesthetic that 13 or Versus 13 had.
But then you get Secret Movie in KH3, and it's Versus 13 kinda, but not really.
Yeah, you get the second secret movie.
Yeah.
The Yozora or whatever the fuck secret movie, where they wake up in the world.
No, one of them wakes up in that world, and the other wakes up in her real life. I think was the deal.
Who fucking knows?
We'll see. In Kingdom Hearts,
Kingdom Hearts is never gonna end.
X13B Chi and fire.
Kingdom Hearts. The moral of the story is Kingdom Hearts is never ending. They did the Lingering Will dirty. His one scene is so flaccid and slow and really fun to watch, like visually. It's just like when I think of Lingering Will, I think of like this unstoppable suit of armor that's incredibly fast and does all this crazy shit. And he does two of his crazy things, like he makes the Keyblade the whip and he brings out the hyper cannon. But it's so flaccid.
You wanted raw, but you got cringe.
I wanted in earlier in the game, you take control of Aqua to fight Vanitas again. Like it's very reminiscent of. You didn't even finish Birth by Sleep, did you?
I did.
You only played Terra.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, yeah. So you fight Vanitas as Aqua.
I'm familiar with that.
And then so they have you have a rematch fight in 3, and it's a pretty cool fight. So what I was really hoping for is when Lingering Will showed up, I was like, Nomura, you did it. This would be too Kino. Is the game fades in, and I'm the Lingering Will, and it's crazy. It didn't do that. Instead, I fight a fucking super lame tornado of heartless little gremlins, and it's the lamest, most flaccid, wet fart I've ever seen ever. I hate the stupid... The heartless tornado is the lamest thing ever. It's so fucking lame. It's just like the little ones, the little guys that are like the heartless that you've been fighting since the first game. The little round-headed antenna dudes that like crawl, or they're like on 2 feet, but they look like they're crawling in a way. Those, it's just like a tornado of them, and it's so lame. The Keyblade scene though, where you like use all the Keyblades in the Keyblade graveyard to fight off the tornado, and all the command prompts are usernames from the mobile game, which are all supposed to be the people from the Keyblade War that died, which was what the mobile game is, which I'm not playing because it's a fucking grind fest of energy levels and bullshit. But hopefully this hasn't been over 15 minutes, and hopefully no one got spoiled. I'm just gonna end it here.
That's fair.
The game is
spoilers.
It's
Squid
all
didn't
right.
like H3's ending.
Yeah, it's all right. Maybe on further playthroughs I'll like it more, but I'm pretty mixed on the game. I'm excited, or not excited, but I'm interested for the DLC that's coming. That's supposed to be story related.
Speaking of bad endings, God, I'm a master of these transitions. Have you played Rage 1?
No.
Oh,
Because that game
man.
is boring.
No, it's not. Shut up. I'm like one
I
of
played
the.
like 30 minutes of it at a friend's house, and I was like, this is boring as shit.
I'm like one of the 12 genuine fans of Rage 1 there are in the world. Mostly.
Yeah, because that's like desert landscape of your home, isn't it?
No, well, not really. I mean, for once, it's not because I live there, because I don't live there. That's more like Australia. I live in Stalkerland. No, this is the reason why I liked Rage 1 as much as I did is because the gunplay in that game felt like not many other games, honestly. Because it wasn't just, oh, it's satisfying because when you get up close to a dude and you shoot, their head explodes everywhere. It was because the enemies behaved and reacted so realistically to damage that it was just fun to experiment with all kinds of shit to see how they deal with it in combat. And the AI wasn't like Fear 1 or anything, but the way enemies acted in that game and how your weapons were made to kind of, how do I say this? Give me a second here to process this. The guns were built for these kind of enemy encounters, and these enemies would roll and jump all over the place to avoid you. They would take cover. They would like run at you and then start limping over when you shoot them in the leg or so. They would lose their weapons if you shoot them in the arm, getting incapacitated if you shoot them in the head and such. And it was just a whole deal. And the weapons were all pretty fun to use. Aside from the fact that it was kind of boring to traverse from one place to another, because you had that stupid shitty car and you'd occasionally run into dudes, and that was the extent of the exploration of that game. There was a lot of decently cool environments to go around, and again, it was just fun to shoot things in that game. Like, the gunplay was genuinely so satisfying that it kept me going through it. And Rage 2 comes out tomorrow, in fact. Possibly already came out by the time you're listening to this.
No, it comes out in like 4 hours.
Yeah.
Or no, it came out today. No, it came out. That's already out.
It's not out. Review codes are out and people are reviewing it, but it's not out on Steam, I think.
I could have swore because let me look.
I don't think it's on Steam.
Oh yeah, it's 7 hours. It was reviews were in
Okay.
3. That's what I was seeing.
So, Rage 2 is coming out, and all I've seen of this game, nothing looks like Rage 1. It looks like a bit crazier Far Cry 5 New Dawn.
Which is not something I'm wanting.
It looks
I'm so sick
like
of it.
open world shooter number 745.
Yeah, it looks really generic and bland, and I have no interest in it.
Explore and craft and radio tower and shoot random
the
dudes.
classic, as Joseph Anderson said, the classic fight or explore, fight, loot, repeat. That's like that's the whole gameplay loop of Fallout 4.
And apparently
it's
it's
gonna be like
super intensified in Rage 2 because the main story only progresses when you do a bunch of side stories to allow the main story to continue. So you just...
This sounds really annoying.
Yeah, you just... You repeat the loop over and over and over, and the game fills up a bar for you, and that's how you progress. And honestly, the world looks pretty interesting to explore, because there's all kinds of different biomes, it would seem, and you have these kinds of crazy superpowers, like a like a jump and ground stomp, which looks pretty fun to use. A gravity gun that lets you staple people through to walls. You get the BFG from Doom if you pre-order the game. There's a railgun. There's a shotgun that can push enemies back with an alt-fire. It looks fun, again, in the whole gunplay scheme of things, but I think it's probably gonna fall flat on its face in everything else, just like the first game. But I'm still vaguely tempted to buy it because I love the first game so much, despite it having one of the worst climaxes of all time, wherein you go into the main villain outpost and you save up all the big boy ammo for the final boss, because come on, it's an id Software game, it's gotta have a big fat final boss. So what happens is you go into a room, a couple of elite enemies show up, you shoot the shit out of them, and then you go into a place and then the game just ends with a bunch of arcs falling to the earth. And the arcs are these like things that people like your protag have been kept in. And then the camera zooms out and that's the end of the game. There was a boss fight like at some point halfway through the game, and that's all you get. And that was...
I just remember how that car controlled like shit.
Yeah, the car controlled like shit, and apparently it still does in Rage 2, which is just great to hear. But apparently they give you hovercraft to explore the world, so you don't even have to drive the car, which is nice to know. I don't know, I'll see. Maybe I'll buy Rage 2. I need something to do me over until Doom Eternal comes out, or at least some new info about Doom Eternal comes out.
Do we have a release date for Doom Eternal?
No. We do not. We may get some soon enough at QuakeCon, and apparently this is the, according to id Software, year of Doom, so we could possibly get it in late 2019, but wouldn't that be nice? But I trust them to make this game pretty good, because Doom 2016, really good game. I don't feel like replaying it that much though. Other than that, me and Jimbles downloaded Warcraft 3 again.
Yeah, I saw you guys were doing that. You were messaging. I saw you guys playing, and I messaged you, and you're like, "We're playing Dragon Ball." We're
playing Dragon Ball Z Tribute Ultra version 76, where, okay, I like talking about Warcraft 3 mods because the extent that the world editor lets you modify the shit out of that game is unbelievable to me to this very day. People are still making total conversions of Warcraft 3, a 2003 game, to this very day just because the world editor is such an insanely versatile thing. There is a first-person shooter in there. People have made a really, admittedly really janky, but a functional first-person shooter in Warcraft 3 that you can play and get headshots on people and lob grenades and throw shit and stuff. And there's also a battlefield kind of map where you move around with the arrow keys, you board vehicles, you shoot the shit out of other players, same way. But the Dragon Ball maps are always super fascinating to me because it's a really interesting concept where it's a 6 versus 6, and depending on which place you take in the setup phase, you'll be locked into a character. So you have the Z fighters and the bad guys, and it's a big map, very asymmetrical, and as time progresses, sagas of Dragon Ball Z show up on the map, so stuff from the anime and stuff from the movies. And what you have to do is go around with your character, beating up random mobs, finishing sagas, leveling up, and as soon as all the characters of one faction, like the Z fighters or the bad guys, are dead, then the faction that remains wins. But it's not about factions and shit. It's about how ridiculously kind of how meticulously designed these maps are, and how every character was given so much attention to be as accurate as possible to what they were like in the anime, and seeing how the Warcraft 3 engine was modified to represent their movesets is really funny, because they do things like Broly's giant green meteor as a big green ball that shows up. I don't think that the big green ball is even a model from Warcraft 3. They had to put that in somehow. And it makes the whole terrain spaz out in a really complex maneuver. Warcraft 3 is written, I think, in a language called Jazz, and doing like weird shit with Jazz to the engine of the game is basically a staple of crazy anime maps that let you do explosive shit like that, and it's really fun to witness. I want to stream it sometime because it's just that crazy. For example, you can start playing as Babidi, and your goal is to get strong enough so that you can revive Majin Buu, and then you can play as Majin Buu. It's great. There's a Quake map that you control with the arrow keys and aim with the mouse and jump with right click. It's unbelievable to me that this shit was made in 2007. It's like a whole completely entire different game. Shoutouts to Warcraft 3. I spent more time in that thing's custom map section than I did playing the actual fucking campaign when I was a kid. What a great fucking game. Shame about Blizzard.
Well, while you were reliving your childhood with Warcraft 3, I decided to rebuy Modern Warfare 2 on Steam.
Right now?
And play that. I did that last week.
Oh, okay. I thought you were doing it like while I was talking about this. It's really funny.
No, I know I already did this. And I've been playing it a bit. That game's still a lot of fun. I really like Modern Warfare 2. It still's my favorite FPS maps. Terminal's really fun. Oh, God. There was a lot of cool DLC ones. There was one called like Theme Park or something that just made the game run like shit if you looked out like a certain window on the 360 version. But I'm surprised how little hackers I ran into in my time playing it. I only had one match with hackers.
That's always nice to know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't believe that to be a case in a Call of Duty game from 10 years ago.
Yeah, especially since it's peer-to-peer or server hosting. There's no dedicated. So there's no like anti-cheat, I believe.
Yeah, I just looked it up on the Steam charts, and Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer is still in the top 3 Call of Duty games being played on Steam. Behind Black Ops 3 and World War 2, which is neat. I'm glad. Modern Warfare 2 was a cool game. That was, I think, the first multiplayer shooter I played in my life actively.
So many fun guns in that game.
Yeah. The SMGs felt really fun to use.
It's a good game.
I think I'm gonna get it at some point too.
Yeah.
If I don't dip into Rage,
that's pretty much all I've been doing lately. So if you want to like go into questions and we can wrap it up, then
sure. I don't have a problem
shorter
with that.
Episode. All right, let me go open up the questions. So you can send the questions into schmoshowpodcast@gmail.com. schmoshowpodcast@gmail.com. Okay, so the first one is from Eric. First, I want to say thank you for using my title, even if it's only temporary. As for my questions, do you fear that your content straying away from Yu-Gi-Oh! In the future will cause a significant loss in audience for you, or do you feel confident that they'll stick with you?
I think this one's for me. I don't know. I ask people on...
that one...
I'm kidding, just go ahead, go off.
No, you could go first.
No, I mean, if there was something else you wanted to add, I just wanted to comedically interrupt this, because I did kind of ask people on YouTube just yesterday, hey, would you mind if I did something that's not Yu-Gi-Oh! On the channel? And I got an overwhelming response of yes on the YouTube poll of 92% people saying, sure, yeah, go ahead. So that would be nice to see, but I will hold my judgment until I actually make the video and see how it gets received.
Yeah.
I won't stop doing Yu-Gi-Oh! At least at the very least until I make the hero video, so look forward to that at some point.
For me, it's pretty much like I've already accepted it. Like, you can just look at my videos that aren't the Everything Wrong with Yu-Gi-Oh! And they have a considerably less amount of views unless it's like a video like the Hitman one where it's like, this is the worst video game movie ever. Which I knew I made that knowing that it would get a lot of views. And I wanted to test if it would get a lot of views just by having a title like worst video game movie ever. And sure enough, it got like 100,000 in a day. So it was clearly getting recommended a lot. And I was looking at the analytics. It sucks, I guess, to an extent. Like, it hurts to see a video you put a lot of time into just get like no views or like barely any, compared to like the 500,000 a Yu-Gi-Oh video will eventually get. Like within like a month, it usually has like a couple 100,000. Maybe, you know, I think the fastest was like a week. It had like 200 was season 2, and that video just passed 1 million views, I believe. So that's cool. It's a little I'd be lying if it wasn't demotivating at times, where it's just like, fuck, man, I don't want to make these Yu-Gi-Oh videos right now because I don't think they're funny, or I don't want to force myself to make something I'm not going to enjoy because then the video's going to be shit and people are going to notice it's shit because my heart isn't there with it, and they're going to be like, this is like a notable downgrade. Like my season 3 part 2 video, I was noticeably more, I guess you could say, aggressive in it because I was so fucking sick of that arc. I hate the stupid Noah trash garbage.
I liked Noah when I was a kid.
Yeah, I bet you did.
What does that mean?
Shit taste.
Oh. Well, okay.
Oh.
I liked Noah
fine.
because of all the fucking weird religious references and shit going on. For some reason, I was really into that when I was a kid.
Oh, I understand. I think I was into that too. That's why I really liked Evangelion as a kid. Besides, like, eventually I liked Evangelion for other reasons. But the first thing I was like, that looks like a religious thing. That's cool.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, that's Noah's Ark. I recognize that. I know what that is.
I know what that is.
We talked about it in Bible study.
Yeah. Oh man, Bible study, that brings me back. Bible study was always so boring and not fun.
Bible study was the most boring shit, but it did get me to Greece at one point where I bought a toy of Blue Eyes White Dragon, so some cool came out of it.
Yeah, so like I've accepted it. It bothers me occasionally if I'm like already in a bad mood, where it's just like, fuck, man. It's one of those things where it's like, if you're in a bad mood, don't read your comments because it's just going to make you feel shittier if you see a negative one, even if it's just one. You're going to be like, fuck, that ruins the whole day kind of thing. Like, occasionally it sucks, but for the most part, I'm pretty happy. I wish my videos had more cohesion, maybe. I hate going to my channel, looking at it, and, like, it's like a fucking myriad of shit. Like, nothing has, like, cohesion. Like, at least with your channel, you have, like, you look at all the videos and they have, like, a very specific theming with thumbnails and shit. Mine is just, like, random trash thrown in
I do
all over
think
the place.
You could get really far if you just stuck to some type of consistent theming with at least either your presentation or your subject, or the subject matter you cover. Because I think you're a bit too eclectic when it comes to your uploads.
Yeah, I definitely think that, but I don't really want to be stuck doing the same shit over and over because I like get no enjoyment out of it, and like at the end of the day, the most important thing is I'm having fun doing this. So like if I'm not enjoying it, there's no fucking point. I should just quit and go get a real job, or well, this is a real job, but I mean like a regular job. I'll go fucking work somewhere. Who knows? At times I'm considering like hiring like a graphic designer just to like make a bunch of thumbnails that have like a consistent theme to them. Because you look at channels like fuck, I'm trying to think of one that has just like, you look at them and they all have like the same formula for thumbnails.
Me?
And not in a bad way. Well, I mentioned you, but I mean talking about like yours, and I mean they're like slightly different because yours are always different. I mean like that guy who does those Dragon Ball story analysis. I think his name is Totally Not Mark.
Okay.
His have like a very specific like white background, same font.
I like Mandalore's thumbnails. He's got his avatar down there, the banner next to it, and a picture of the game over it. That's all you need. Very recognizable, very simple. Gets in there. except for his Limbo of the Lost thumbnail, which is just a close-up of the main character's face, which works great for that game.
Yeah, let me look up Totally. I believe his name is Totally not
Yeah, I know
not
who that is.
Mark. Yeah, I was watching some of his, like, all of his recent videos all have this very specific same look to them for a thumbnail, and it's like nice, clean, simplistic. They pop. They don't like, they catch your eye and they don't look fucking overly obnoxious.
Is pretty good.
Yeah, something like that in a way where I'd want to keep it nice, clean, and simple, but at the same time I wonder, like, would that hurt some of the videos? Because, like, all the Yu-Gi-Oh ones, like, I think really pop in your fucking sub or recommended because how obnoxious they are with the stupid googly eyes.
Yeah, it's the googly eyes are very.
I'm convinced that if you put googly eyes in your thumbnail, the YouTube algorithm just shoots up your recommendeds. I believe
This
it.
seems pretty wacky. Let's get it out there.
And his other question is, have you heard of an anime or manga / short anime? Please tell me, Galco-chan.
It's good.
Yeah,
It's
I liked
cute.
it.
It's nice.
It's good.
It's very nice. Galco's
nice.
great. Then
Galco's wholesome.
then it was followed by a bunch of mangas that tried copying it really terribly. It didn't work. Stick to Galco-chan. It's good stuff.
Yes. And then the other one is from Doppel Shapeshifter. What is your guys' favorite dubbed anime? Mine is Bach and Test. Very basic bitch answer. I really like Cowboy Bebop.
Panty and Stocking.
Any dub. Panty and Stocking is really strong. Any dub with Patrick Seitz as a main character is always a strong dub. Durara, I remember having a dub that I enjoyed, but it's been like 8 years since I watched Durara, it feels like. I feel like I watched it like 2011, 2012.
I don't know about Dub Durara. I know that some Lupin the Third stuff has really cool dubs, but when people talk about the best dubs I can think of, Panty and Stocking always comes up first in my head, regardless of...
Panty and Stocking's a really strong dub.
Yep. Potentially better than the sub, given the subject matter.
I stopped watching anime pretty much because I'll always... I pretty much always read manga every day that I can. Like, I just, like, sit on manga decks or, like, and just, like, refresh to see if anything that I read has been updated. So I'm always, like, ahead of where the anime would have been, so there's never a reason I find to watch anime.
You read Pun Pun yet?
Because... What? No, I have not read Pun Pun yet. I'm planning on it eventually.
Get to it.
Like, the way I see it is, I'm a very big stickler for keeping things the same from the source material. I just completely accidentally paused the recording, so we're just gonna fucking pick it up from there and just go right there. So I completely lost my spot. What was I saying? Oh yeah, anime, if it's different from the manga, it's gonna bother me. I know it's dumb. I can't help thinking it. I have OCD. I will always prefer a better product, which I think manga is 90% of the time. I always prefer something with a unique art style. Usually I find manga art style way better than the anime's adaptation style of it. Just from
they didn't
color
give
choices
Risotto a
to
backstory.
anything else.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So I don't watch much anime anymore, if anything at all. I've watched like stuff that was originally made, like Hisone Tumaso Tan. What else have I watched recently? Oh, fuck, I haven't watched anything. I just haven't been enjoying anime at all. But yeah, just send in the questions so we can read them if you want. Don't if you don't wanna. Do if you do wanna. We're not gonna answer anything weird. Don't send anything weird. I'm not gonna answer it.
Thank you for reminding me of Galco-chan. I love Gyarus, so I'm gonna reread it.
Yeah, so that's pretty much everything, guys. See you next time. Bye-bye.